One of the biggest collaborations in the sneaker world of the last couple of years has been Off-White and Nike, and it's just been off the charts. We're talking Air Force Ones, we're talking Air Max 90s, Blazers, a full range of silhouettes from the Nike line, even tipping it over into the Jordan lines as well, with Jordan 4s and 5s. Absolutely a massive collaborations tying it up together. But the thing that ties them all together is the fact that the Off-White brand were taking classic silhouettes and putting their twist on them. And the difference today with this guy right here is basically it's a shoe that's been built from the ground up by the Off-White guys. Rather than taking a silhouette from Nike and putting their spin on it, they've actually gone and made their own shoe. Now it's called the Nike Rubber Dunk. So that word dunk in there gives you an idea that there must be some connection to the Dunk line, whether it be Dunk Lows, SB Dunk Lows or SB Dunk Low Pros. But there's only actually one place that I've been able to really pin down that dunk feel on this shoe, and it's just a feeling more than anything else. So it seems like it's basically from the bottom up made by the Off-White guys, and it's their shoe and it's their shoe alone, but of course it's still a Nike shoe. Now, the first time I looked at these guys, I was instantly, heck no. I was straight off the bat not interested. But I've learned from doing more than 650 consecutive days on YouTube that I actually have to stop myself doing that and take a closer look at shoes and then really think about it. Rather than just go with my gut reaction, actually look into it and see what's going on with the shoe. So today what I'm going to do for you guys is go through all the little details and all the points, every bit of branding, every detail on these shoes, and let you guys know what's cool and what's not in there, and then an overall picture of this shoe. So without further ado, let's get into this and take a close-up look at the Nike Rubber Dunk Off-White. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel desu. Mainichi upsurun no de, mainichi mite kudasai. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And lately, things have been great at the channel. There've been a lot more views, a lot more view time and stuff like that. So I super appreciate anyone checking out the content for the first time and anyone who's a repeat viewer coming back to watch again and again and again. It's great to get that stuff, you know, see the graphs kind of on an uptick. It's been a brilliant sort of last few days and into about a week's worth of content. So thank you guys for checking it out. Hope this video is in line with that recent sort of trend and we keep it keeping on coming on. So without further ado, like I say, we're going to get into this shoe today. My instinct was absolutely no. There's 3 different colorways in this pack, and like I say, they're kind of designed by the Off-White guys from the ground up, but that's kind of ironic to say that because really it's just the outsole in these guys that might just be from the Dunk line, but everything else seems to be absolutely unique on this shoe, or these shoes, because there are 3 of them. Like I said, there's a black and green pair, there's a silver and blue pair, and then there's basically an orange pair, even though it's got that black sort of midsole outsole unit on it, but it's basically just an orange pair, or maybe gold. Maybe I should give them the benefit of the doubt and call them gold. But there's a lot going on in the shoes, and like I say, at first glance it's sort of like, not my thing, but then there's actually a lot in there. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to do 3 different things. The first thing we're going to do is look at the actual Off-White sort of standard branding on the shoe, and there are a few things on there that come as standard on an Off-White shoe, and then we're going to look at some of the unique things that are on these shoes that you don't usually see on other shoes, and then finally take a sort of overall look at the shoe and say whether or not we think this guy's going to fly or not. So that's the 3 parts of this video. So let's go for part number 1 and talk about those main Off-White things. If you know your Off-White sneakers, you know the kind of things I'm talking about. Now there's 4, I think I counted, Off-White standard sort of practice on these shoes. So we're talking about number 1, that hang tag, zip line, whatever you want to call that, zip cord, I don't know what you'd call it, up there on the tongues. That's in the lacing system. That's normal, standard sort of thing. It sets them apart. Very easy to quickly see an Off-White shoe coming down the street when they've got that on it, and of course these guys have that. Now that's the main thing that most people look at for an Off-White shoe, but there's actually 3 more that I want to go to. So we just travel back a little bit and get towards the swooshes on these guys, and we'll come back to the swooshes later, but just dropping off the back end of the swoosh, you see that little no brand tab sort of hanging down there, which is a sort of standard element of Off-White sneakers, especially lined up with the Nike line. So that's 2 things on the lateral side, easy to see. Flip it around to the medial side, and that's I call it a text box. It's almost like, you know, a doc that you're making online with a text box and all the text written inside it. But that text box on the medial side, always on the medial side, and always that same sort of Nike address going on in there. It's a standard feature of Off-White sneakers. And then the final standard feature, which is harder to explain and harder to see in the pictures because the other ones are sort of, they stand out, whereas this one, it's more about design than it is about branding. So what I'm talking about is the tongue. So I don't know which way I'll look at it. I don't know if it'll be from above or from behind, but the thing that I want to draw your attention to is that the tongues on off-white sneakers are often, if not always, unfinished. And by that what I mean is they haven't stitched around the edge to sort of seal the tongue in. They've left that final bit off, so you're looking through to the foam of the tongue, which normally you wouldn't see. Usually there's some kind of lining around the tongue of a sneaker to sort of hold all that innard stuff in place so it doesn't come flying off or ruin your shoe. But it's a standard of off-white sneakers, and it does happen on these sneakers as well. And hopefully I'm showing you on the green screen behind me here that one of those sneakers has got that sort of puffy tongue, unfinished tongue effect on there. That is, like I say, the fourth of the standard off-white sort of features on these shoes. So there's the four things that you'd probably expect to see on just about any off-white Nike tie-up. But then there's a few things on the shoes that are unique to these shoes and need a little bit of attention. And since we're looking at those puffed up tongues, we might as well look at the other side of them and the branding on there, which says Nike Off. And that's actually very cool because that's tipping the hat to the Nike silhouette, but also tipping the hat to the off-white branding. So it's a really great collaboration in the branding up there on the tongue. And hopefully I've chosen the right shoe to show you that, because what I was thinking about when I was making this video is which of these features is best seen on which of the shoes. So if you look at the silver shoes, for example, it's hard to see certain features on them, but the green ones, the black and green ones, there are some features that really pop. So hopefully what I've been able to do is to show you guys on the green screen that tongue branding up there. It says Nike Off. I think it's Nike Swoosh Off, to be absolutely exact about it. So so that's a unique feature that I haven't seen before on shoes. I might be wrong. Maybe it's something I've just haven't noticed before and it's been on other shoes. Definitely tell me in the comments down below if that is true. Another feature that's worth looking at, I said before about the swooshes, so we'll go down and see the swooshes. They're a sort of double piping swoosh effect with the stitching in the middle of those two pieces of piping, and then the center of the swoosh itself left hollow to look through to the upper, which is kind of a cool effect. And again, I'll be choosing the right shoe to show that effect on here. And then we come down from that to the back end of the shoe, and this is why I don't want to say it's a Dunk midsole, but I do want to say it's a Dunk outsoles, because what I'm showing you right here is that visible air unit on the heel of these shoes, and that is not visible on Dunks. It might be visible on Air Max, for example, Air Max 1s, 2s, 90s, Air Max 180s, I suppose, in a way, that visible sort of air unit on the side. And then if you think of Jordan sneakers as well, like Jordan 3s, Jordan 4s, and it being visible on the side is not a Dunk thing. Dunks, Dunk Pros, Dunk SB Dunk Pros, and they don't show the air unit on the side like this. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to say that the midsole is a Dunk midsole, but I do want to say that the outsole is a Dunk outsole, because if you look at the lateral side first, and I think this will be easiest seen on the black pair with the green outsole, as you can see that sort of silhouette. It's almost, I don't know how to describe it. It's not a straight line like an Air Force One would have a straight line between the midsole and the outsole. It sort of bumps up in a couple of places, and that's very reminiscent of a Dunk sneaker. And then if we flip them upside down and actually look at the outsole and not just the lateral side of the outsole, you can see very much there's definitely an echo of the Dunks, if not more, going on in there. So for me, that's where the Dunk comes in, but nothing else on the shoe. Now again, I might be wrong in that. If there's something I'm missing of a tie-up between these guys and the Dunk line, let me know in the comments down below, for sure. The next thing I want to go do is I want to go around to the back and have a look at the branding on the heel, because this was a bit odd to me. I've never seen branding like this on a shoe, because usually what they do with their branding is they try and make it semi sort of symmetrical, so you've got a unit on the back like a rectangle with the branding in it. But instead of going for that, what they've done is they've gone for an outline around the branding, so it gives it a less parallel effect, and it's kind of cool in a certain way, but I think it's cool as a sort of gimmick that you'd kind of get bored with, if you like. It's the sort of thing you'd look at and be like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but then over time you'd be like, oh, I prefer a bit more of a standard branding. If you think of the back of Air Max 90s, for example, that sort of branding unit on the back there is parallel, so on the back of these guys, that's a main feature of the branding. It's kind of unique, and I haven't seen that before in shoes. And then if we just go and have a little panel on the lateral side, you can see the way that the lacing sort of comes up from the mid sort of area of the upper and then onto the lacing unit on there, especially in the middle. I think each pair of these shoes has its own own kind of special colorway going on in the middle of the lacing system there to give it that sort of final finish. So back out, looking at the shoes, probably look at all three in the pack back here. Like I said, my instincts first off. So I said a three-part video. First the off-white, features, then the unique features, and now my take on the whole shoe. And my take was initially straight off the back, not interested. This is really ugly shoes. And then I thought, no, I have to have a proper look at them and make a better decision. Frankly, my better decision is still pretty much the same decision as before. The one thing I did think though was that if you took off the off-white branding, if you took that hang tag, if you took that little tab that comes off of the swoosh, if you took away the text box, if you sealed up the tongues on these guys, it would be an okay shoe. You know what I mean? It would just be an okay silhouette. Oh yeah, a standard thing. You might buy them in the sales or something like that. But putting the off-white branding on there, kind of, I don't know, it makes it seem a bit more sort of jangly, and to be honest, they're just not my kind of shoes. So I know there's probably a lot of people clambering out there to get these guys, a lot of people interested in the resale, a lot of people saying this is hype, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just my opinion, and if people have a different opinion, feel free to tell me in the comments down below. But that's just how I see it. I call it how I see it, and that's how I see it today. Okay, that's enough for me today. I'm going to sign off. It's kind of late at night. It's already well after 1 o'clock in the morning, which is really bad. So I'm going to go stick this video in the computer and then edit it tomorrow. So for now, time to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, but I'll say the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day. So you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.